Hello everyone. Fear is one of the most basic human emotions, but many people like to experience this feeling on purpose. That's why they watch horror movies, ride terrifying rides, and read scary stories. The reason is that adrenaline can be addictive, but not everybody likes this kind of entertainment, something that pranksters don't care about. Today, we will show you some terrible pranks which went too far and really freaked out the innocent victims. Let's get it on. Prehistoric monster. Even if you've never liked watching Japanese TV shows, you've probably heard that they're usually pretty peculiar. For example, you can see two girls pushing a cockroach back and forth through a transparent tube, or watch a man trying to eat a portion of noodles while inside a moving washing machine. The following prank was shown on a Japanese television program and was later repeated in other countries. The idea is as follows. An actor wearing an incredibly realistic T-Rex costume suddenly jumps out of the corner to scare people. If you look closely, you can immediately see the legs sticking out from under the costume, but our brain works in such a way that in the first few seconds, you don't notice it, and you follow the instinct to immediately run away from the fierce monster. The result is just a really funny video. You can see the big and strong basketball players from the Phoenix Suns team running away from the weird creature with human legs, but some of the athletes didn't even bat an eye, and we can only admire them for that. Midnight Ghost. For some reason, the evil bride is one of the most common characters in horror movies. She usually has a torn white dress, an animalistic grin, and crazy eyes. Last year, by the way, a similar character appeared in the American horror film The Curse of La Llorona. In this film, a sinister ghost drowned her own children, and now is hunting for children in the human world. Eek. Are you already scared? Well, we definitely are. But if you don't need that kind of entertainment, you can simply not go to the movies. Unfortunately, in Brazil, nobody asked passers-by if they liked horror movies. The team of programmer Silvio Santos decided to make a prank with the Cursed Bride. By the way, this show is famous for its cruel pranks. In this case, an actress was dressed for the prank. She was wearing makeup to look like the character from the movie. The pranksters chose a deserted park and a bus stop, waited for night to come, and began their prank. The bride is sitting on the sidewalk crying, causing compassionate people to check on her, and you can see the result on the screen. But the second part of the prank is more intricate. First, we see some children screaming about a nearby danger and running in an unknown direction. And then, the cursed bride, but now on a hoverboard. Naturally, the sight of a rapidly approaching ghost can frighten anyone to death. But the cherry on top is the third part of the prank, when the bride is floating in the air with the help of special cables. Someone could have had a heart attack. TV monster. Creepy pranks are a standard part of horror movie promotional campaigns. It's unlikely that victims of these pranks will want to go to see the movie, but the video can go viral on the internet. So, the creators of the film Rings decided to draw attention to their work before the release of the third part of the horror saga. This viral prank was set in Los Angeles. A fake TV was installed in a local store. More specifically, it was a secret compartment with a moving TV screen. When customers were enthusiastically choosing the perfect TV for their homes, an actress disguised as Samara would appear from behind the fake screen. The prank is so realistic that it's scary even when you're watching it at home. Now imagine what the actual victims of the prank felt. By the way, the prank was a huge success. The video instantly went viral on social media. However, the film was a box office flop. A similar prank, by the way, was played in another part of the United States after the publication of the store's viral video. In a morning show, the presenters showed a story about the strangest things seized from travelers by border officials, and in one of the suitcases they found, well, who do you think? Of course, the evil girl with the long black hair. Venomous creature. Working live is not easy, and any journalist or reporter will agree. It's quite obvious really, since you have to look calm and rested all the time, even if you've slept for 2 hours in the last 2 days. Moreover, you have to find the right words in the most embarrassing and unexpected situations. Besides, your colleagues can make fun of you to the joy of the audience.
My apologies. Apologies.
This is an Australian morning show. Nothing special happens at first. The presenters and an expert in snakes and spiders discuss how to protect themselves from being bitten by a poisonous creature. But one of the presenters is remarkably nervous and doesn't even hide it. After seeing the reptile, he prefers to stay away from them. But then the following happens. Reporters step up to the terrarium to show the audience closely the first aid process after a bite. At this point, they're joined by a third presenter, who throws a rubber snake to the ground at the most unexpected moment, screaming in amazement and causing real chaos in the studio. Well, his partner's reaction is quite understandable.
Can we show? Mate.
Garbage problems. As much as everyone talks about pollution, the importance of recycling, waste-free production technology, and giving up plastic, many citizens have not even learned to throw away cigarette butts in the right place.
Garbage day!
The people behind this prank decided to see what would happen if they left a pile of garbage on the ground right next to the bin. What choice will passers-by make? Of course, there was a little trick. Under the pile of trash was a real person. So if a passerby chose to add something to the pile, the garbage monster would get up and start chasing the victim. Most passers-by were scared to death, but some of them behaved as if nothing special had happened. In any case, now they'll probably all think twice about littering. Scary mirror. Before Halloween, you have to be very careful, because a prank could be waiting for you anywhere.
Help me, Mommy! Help me! Help me!
But still, a public bathroom is where you least expect to be pranked. The authors of the following prank apparently thought the same, and decided to use the bathroom of a London cinema for a little prank. Pepsi, in cooperation with some modern developers, installed a revolutionary facial recognition technology in one of the mirrors. Basically, the mirror works as an Instagram filter, except the visitors knew nothing about the sudden activation of the function. However, most of the victims liked the prank. After freaking out a little, they'd approach to see their reflection turned into a crazy clown, a ferocious werewolf, or a bloodthirsty zombie. Invisible being. Before the release of any movie, film studios usually hold special events to give interviews to journalists. This usually takes many hours. The interviewers take turns, while actors, directors, and other members of the film crew tell them different stories about the filmmaking process. Experienced journalists are used to this type of event, when you have a couple of minutes to try to get all of the juicy details. But in this case, something really unexpected happened. This happened during a press event before the release of the 2020 horror film The Invisible Man. The journalists were promised a conversation with the stunt director of the film. If you've seen the picture, you can imagine how important his work was for the final result. But in this case, while the guests were quietly waiting in the meeting room, the organizers decided to play a little joke on them. More precisely, to place the invisible being from the film Adrian Griffin in the room. Suddenly, objects began to fall, suitcases began to close, curtains began to move. A classic. The result exceeded all expectations. No journalist was indifferent to the prank, and some even ran out of the room screaming.
Oh my God!
We hope that after that they were able to keep working. Nightmare at the bus stop. The more technology advances, the more sophisticated pranks become. Here is a perfect example. As part of the advertising campaign for the 5th season of The Walking Dead, some residents of Vienna unwittingly became the protagonists of this series. Bloodthirsty zombies were placed on a smart screen at one of these city's streetcar stops. The prank involves the use of augmented reality technology. Thanks to it, the monsters appeared in the picturesque streets of Vienna as if by magic. Unexpected visitor. Have you heard that polar bears are the largest predatory mammals on Earth? Researchers say that they're not bloodthirsty by nature, but humans are still an attractive prey for them. So if one day you find a polar bear in your path, patting him on the head is definitely not the best idea. As you can see, some Londoners who fell victim to a prank by the creators of the Fortitude series didn't know about that. For the prank, the costume specialist created a life-size model of the predator. This took them over a month. Then, several actors from a puppet theatre spent hours learning to move like a bear, while being inside the huge and heavy costume. When everything was ready, the giant animal was released into the street to the British capital. It looked really real, but for some reason, most passers-by were not afraid of the fierce bear. Instead, pedestrians enthusiastically recorded the animal on their phone and patted him. Fortunately, it wasn't an animal that had escaped from the zoo. Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.